Jorn Siljeholm is a former weapons inspector for the United Nations. He joins us now from Oslo. Thank you very much for joining us. So, British officials now say that the latest two victims were poisoned by a contaminated object, possibly from the Skripal case. Should we be asking questions as to how thorough the initial cleansing of areas Julian Sergei Skripal visited has been?
Well, certainly so, but one could certainly ask another question, and that is we discussed the amounts of Novichok used in the Skripal case, and the OPCW, meaning the watchdog for the UN regarding chemical weapons, came up with various amounts. They started up with like 50 grams and then down to an amount which is as low as what possibly could be used/produced by a lot of the nations that have been signers to the Chemical Weapons Convention. So what we are saying here is that, yes, it can certainly be either, they could be linked or could not be linked. The problem is that there are institutions and countries in the world that has the right to basically produce for very low quantities then this chemical. So we're back to who did this, and we're again asking the same questions. We might not know while we assume.
But Jan, how concerned do you think the public should be that there may be more contaminated objects out there?
Well, certainly they should be concerned, and the Novichok compound, it's a nerve agent like VX and sarin and stuff like that, does not, decompose rapidly. So we are back to the big discussion again about quantities, the initial discussion regarding how much was used. Was it actually a weapons attack / was it really an attack with chemical weapons, or was it just like a poisoning, given that certain individuals might have been carried out with a dose that's so low that actually we can assume many countries will have it. So the quantity is a big deal, and they could be concerned, but on the other hand, we know that as far as the Chemical Weapons Convention goes and OPCW, they will do a very thorough job in terms of trying to find the stuff and also try to quantify it. So we will think that the work has been done very thoroughly.
Yes, and what are some of the difficulties in investigating weapons of mass destruction issues anywhere in the world?
Well, it's certainly it's a huge problem, because what we see is that we see the politics are really running ahead of basically the analysis. And the watchdog that's supposed to carry out the analysis had at one point not the right to anyway assume that anybody did it. Their only role was to basically define whether the compound was there. But when that is said, it's a really big problem, because these chemicals, it's not like a nuclear weapons. Chemicals can be produced by a lot of countries. We know that a lot of countries have these chemicals for research purposes, and accordingly so. We are pointing the finger at Russia in this case, but we know that that there are too many other parameters out there that can be questioned in that regard.
Well, thank you very much for joining us here on TNT World, Jorn Siljeholm.